Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can scale your app service. I have an existing one called Fast-Paced Tutorials. If you go down under settings, you'll be able to see two options, a scale up and a scale out. Now, what is the difference between the two? You have the option to scale up or down your application or scale out or in. A scale up simply means you're going to add more resources, more memory, more compute power, more storage. You're going to scale up. A scale down means you're going to remove resources. You're going to reduce the memory, you're going to reduce the CPU power, and probably sometimes you're going to reduce the disk storage. A scale out means that you're going to add a new instance. Let's say you have a web server, and when you scale out, you add another web server. In this video, I'm going to talk about a scaling up or a scaling down. So if I click on a scale up, it will show me which tier I'm using right now. I'm using F1. As you can see, F1 and D1 are using shared infrastructures, and there is a limit of how much you can use these two tiers within a day. F1 says 60 minutes per day. D1 says 240 minutes per day compute. I would also point out that there is an option here under App Service Plan called quotas. These options are related to the App Service Plan, as it states here, because your app services are going to be a part of App Service Plan. And as I mentioned in my previous video, App Service Plan is like a server. You can have a server and you can have multiple applications hosted on that server. So App Service Plan in this case can have multiple app services. So when you scale up, you're actually doing it at the App Service Plan level. Now, under App Service Plan here, you have an option called quotas. If you go there, because I'm using F1 tier and there's a limit on how much I can use this service, you will see on the quotas that I have different charts that tells me how much CPU time I have left and how much I have used and when it's gonna get reset. We have CPU time and we have memory usage and we have data out. We also have the file system usage, which is actually the amount of space my files are consuming. Here it shows my only app service called Fast-Paced Tutorials, and it shows me that it is using 26.35 megabytes. Now, if I go back to scale up, I will have the option to move to any other tier that I want. I can go to production, I can choose any of these options, but I won't be able to select anything under isolated. I have to select isolated at the time of creation, otherwise I cannot move from regular app services to isolated. So in my case, I want to move from F1 to B1. It's as easy as selecting the target tier and then clicking on apply. It will literally within seconds scale up your application to whatever tier you've chosen. That's done. And if I go back, because B1 doesn't have the limits that D1 and F1 have, it has actually dedicated compute power. If I now go to quotas, you will be able to see that I don't have those charts anymore. You can see that the only thing that it's showing me is my file system storage, and I have 0% because with the tier that I just chose, I will have 10 gigabytes of storage, and I have only one app service again with a little bit of storage that it's using. If I decide to scale down my application, it's going to be the same process. There is only one thing to have in mind. If you scale up from one tier to another, to a higher tier, you will get sometimes more disk storage. In my case, from F1 to B1, I'm getting 10 times more. With F1, 1 gigabytes. With B1, 10 gigabytes. Have in mind that if I store more than 1 gigabytes worth of file in my app service, I will not be able to go back to D1 or F1. It will give me an error and it will stop the process. That's the only thing you have to have in mind. Right now I want to go back to F1, let's say, Same thing, I just click on apply. And that's done.